If I had a buzzer right now, I would be buzzing it because for Freddie, Chase, and Quinn, we're talking about the first of all time this season top 10 matchup. These rankings don't matter because they have nothing to do with the playoffs. But the first top 10 matchup all season long, we got Texas and we got the defending national champions, Michigan Wolverines, squaring up week 2. Where is this game at again? I don't
Ann
even.
Arbor. It's
Ann
in Michigan.
Arbor. Oh no, we're so scared. This is a 6.5 point spread, 44.5 over under. The game is played at 11 a.m. Let me just pause it there, guys. Georgia and Clemson last week at 11 a.m. This game at 11 a.m. Gosh, you got some big key matchups like that this early in the season. You're not going to put them in prime time at night, even, some good times. You're going to put them at 11 right when you wake up. Goodness gracious, I'm barely showered by that point in the day. Just kidding, guys. Make sure to get up and shower on Saturdays. Do not stay on the couch all day long. It's just nasty. Anywho, I'm gonna go first here because I have a lot on my chest, a lot. And if you could see it, it would just be insurmountable. Because this is both teams in the playoffs last year. Of course, Michigan won the national championship. Texas has come back even stronger somehow, played a really good game to open up against Colorado State, zipped them. Who we saw last year, Colorado State is a decent to above average team for their respective playing field. But I've got to say, I watched the game, I box scored some, you know, and I was right. This is the one time I'm going to come on here. I'm going to boast. I'm going to be extremely arrogant. I'm going to be overly confident about what I've said. And what I said this offseason about Michigan only winning 6 or 7 games, I've never been more right in my entire life than anything that I've seen than this. Michigan barely beat Fresno State. They won 30-10, Chase. Oh my gosh, get off their back. Yeah, they won 30 to freaking 10. They are starting a walk-on quarterback. Your Alex Orgy, RG3's call last year. There's an orgy in the end zone. He's not playing anymore. Maybe that's why RG3's not doesn't have a job either. You don't even have the guy that's on the college football 25 cover to break 30 yards in this game, gentlemen. He had 11 carries for 27 yards. Donovan Edwards, guys, he's going to win the Heisman. He's not. He's not winning the Heisman. And guess what? Michigan's not going to win more than 6 or 7 games this season. There is a reason, me personally, I did not have them in my even top 20 preseason rankings because this is not the same Michigan team as last year. There's no Blake Corum. There's no Jim Harbaugh. You don't have J.J. McCarthy. This is not the same team. So do not come in here expecting that Michigan is going to even think that they can hold Texas's jockstrap. They'll be lucky if they don't see Arch Manning before the second quarter. That's how close I'm getting to this game. This is going to be worse than the Georgia Clemson. Everything I said about Georgia and Clemson last week, if we could take that, put it back onto this video and double it and give it back to me because that's how I'm feeling. This is going to be a 42-10 game. Stamp it. Texas is going to absolutely throttle Michigan in Ann Arbor and sit in that place where we're going to see Michigan fans flying out of that stadium before halftime. I guarantee it. I've got Texas by over 4 scores in this game. Hook 'em.
All right, hey, Michigan fans, Michigan fans, come here. I'm sorry. That wasn't nice. Chase is a hater. He's an SEC homeboy. We all know what it is. Don't listen to him. It's okay. Texas is winning this game by 3 touchdowns. Like, I'm just gonna be completely honest. Like, I'm sorry, Colorado State and Fresno State, relatively equal opponents. And look, I'll be the first to tell you that their struggle game with Fresno State isn't a reflection on who they're going to be for the full season. I don't think it's justification for Chase thinking that they're going to win 6 games. Like, I think that's a little absurd. Big Ten's not that deep top to bottom. Michigan's going to get some wins. They do not match up well against Texas. They had a lot of players leave in the secondary. Texas has a insanely deep trove of wide receivers to attack you with, and really good quarterback play and elite offensive line play. Texas is going to light the scoreboard up. I do think they cover. I said last week, similar to Chase, Georgia was going to win by 20. I think I said 24 points over Clemson, is what I called. I think Texas wins by about 17 or 18 in the big house on the Wolverines. I just don't think Michigan's being done a disservice by being ranked in the top 10 just because they won the national title.
Mm-hmm.
This team is not a top 10 team. This
Mm-hmm.
team is a fringe like 25 to 17 team. Texas is a top 5 team, and you're about to see the difference on Saturday. Texas should win this game.
Yeah, and I want to bring up the Michigan Fresno State game a little bit because you may look at the score 30-10. No, that was a much tighter game. I believe it was a one-score game with about 6 minutes left in the game, and Michigan got a pick six at the end of the game to put the icing on the cake. They're bad. Their offense, oh my God, it's like watching paint dry. Now, you may say, yeah, I like watching a defensive game, right? Even if you like watching defensive games, you were bored with Michigan because it's not like that it was just a defensive game. Their offense just sucked. Like Fresno State's defense is not that great. Michigan just could not do anything in this game. Now, I said it last week. I'm going to keep saying it. Michigan's defense is really good, right? They gave up 10 points. Now, there was some times where they tend to play a bend but don't break type of defense, right? That seems to be what they do, which is fine. However, you got to have an offense that can like actually score. And they do not. I've got Texas winning this game by. I'm going to go conservative here and say 14.
Don't be conservative, Freddie.
I'm going to go 14 points. I think now I would say that home field advantage would have something to do with this for Michigan's sake. It seemed like Fresno State didn't care. That was a night game. So the environment was a little bit crazier, I would say. Obviously night games are a lot harder. Now, 11 o'clock big noon kickoff against Texas. They're going to show up. They're going to show out. It's not going to matter. I was actually excited for this game before I saw Michigan play their week 1 game against State.
I'll say this. I think Michigan will be winning at the end of the first, and I think the game will be within a score at half. I do. I think in the Midwest, they play a lot of big noon games. Like, no pun intended, like a lot of their big games happen in the earlier time windows, and their crowds are electric and crazy. So I'm not worried about the crowd. The crowd will be a factor in this game. What I think will happen, though, is in that third quarter, their inability to move the ball offensively, paired with Texas's ability to hit you with big plays, it's going to break their back. And when it breaks their back, it's going to open up a floodgate. That's what I think is going to happen.
And you got to remember, we're not, when you're looking at this Michigan team, we're talking about stuff that happened, how they left last year, all the guys that went to the draft, transfers, whatever. But you also had a couple huge injuries over the offseason in your DB room, which is huge. You lost a guy, I believe, to an ACL tear, another one to an Achilles injury or something of the nature. But then I'm not understanding this point. Maybe somebody else can enlighten me in the comments or between y'all two. But you have the guy that was supposed to be the heir to JJ McCarthy and Alex Orji somehow what's his face, Davis Warren, the walk-on, is playing over him for some reason. Donovan Edwards only gets 30 carries, and you have another kid by the name of give me 1 second, Khalil Mullings, who's going to have more carries and more yards. I don't know what's happening, but apparently Sharon Moore is switching things up, and it doesn't look good for the offense so far. And so now you're about to bring that into the biggest game you probably have all season besides your rivalry game. And at that point, it's not going to matter anymore. This still matters because you have that cute little number 9 next to your name. And that's the only reason it matters. Because to me, there is no number next to Michigan's name. And that's why this is going to happen the way it's going to happen. And I truly hope a lot of Michigan fans find this before the game, give us a lot of love, and by that I mean a lot of hateful comments, and then revisit us after the game and say, you know what, guys, I'm so sorry. I'm in therapy now. I'm going through things, and you guys were right because we are, and that's just what we do here. We bring truth to the table, and only the best ways we know how. We know it's hard. We know it's tough, but it's good for you fans to understand and to take a lot of pegs down. We
Hey,
love
we'll
you.
see. We'll see how Michigan does without Connor Stallions.
Yep. If you haven't watched his documentary as well, but for the three bold takes teams, we love you. I actually hate you. But
Oh
Freddie,
man,
Chase,
dang,
and
that's
Quinn, we salute you. We see you later. Share this with your grandmother, and everybody else that you know.